I want to give you another example of the point I was making before. If I have the graph y equals 3 times x minus 5 squared plus 7. Okay, so by the way, I forget these. These are not axes, these black things. They're just black things, they're nothing. We're out in the middle of nowhere. So first thing is that the vertex would be 5 comma 7. I get it from these two numbers here. Now, because of the 3, when I go 1 out, instead of going 1 up, I'm going to go 3 up. So I went 1 out, and I went 3 up. And the same thing on the other side. And now, when I go, which means just by counting boxes, this point over here is 6 comma 10, and that point over there is 4 comma 10. Now, when I go 2 out from the vertex, normally 2 out from the vertex, when I square the 2, it becomes 4. But I'm multiplying that times 3, so it's going to go up 12. So it's going to go way up here. I had to extend my graph paper. And on the other side, it'll be symmetric, so it's just going to go way over there. So instead of going up 4, starting from the vertex, it goes up a whopping 12, which means that point over there is going to be 7 comma 19. 7 because from 5, I went out 2, and from 7, I went up 12. And this point on the other side is going to be 3 comma 19. Now I'm going to just put in a little axis of symmetry here. I'm putting in my axis of symmetry here, and you see everything is symmetric off that axis. And the equation of that axis, of this dotted line axis, is x equals 5. Now I could just fill in the parabola as best I can. I'm not an artist, but I'll do the best I can. And that's just, fill in the curve. All right, enough laughing. That's the curve I just filled in, and that's the parabola. What's the next point? What's the next? By the way, when I say next point, it hits a point every microsecond. But I mean, what's the next integer point it's going to hit? We call that a lattice point. So that next lattice point, which is way off the graph paper, would be 8 comma 34. And how do you get that? Well, the truth is, the simple way to get it is just to plug 8 into this formula right here, into this equation. If you take the original equation and just plug in x equals 8, you get 3 times 8 minus 5 squared plus 7. Which 8 minus 5 is 3, so it's 3 times 3 squared, which is 27, plus 7 is 34. And that's where we get the point 8 comma 34. And the point on the other side, across from it, well, again, you see from the symmetry, it would be, where are we here, 2 comma, the point way up there will be 2 comma 34. And if you plug 2 into the equation, if we plug 2 in for x, then we get 3 times negative 3 squared, plus 7, which is, again, 27 plus 7, 34, same thing. That's the whole symmetry. I guess that's why they call it an axis of symmetry, because of the symmetry you have here. That when you square a positive, when you square a negative, it's the same thing, and that's really where the symmetry ultimately kind of comes from. And this is a parabola. Yay! Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see everything, and pow.